that Dwayne Haskins Jr. is considered one of the top 2 or 3 candidates for the Heisman. And there's talk past that. I'm just wondering, what's your sense of how far he's come along, and has he dazzled you in any sort of way?
I think when you look at somebody who hasn't played a whole bunch of football, the games he's played this year, he's done a nice job. I taught this game most recently, but all that's for naught if you don't keep performing every week. And we talk about it all the time, not only as quarterbacks, but as a whole offense, is that now is the time in the meat of the season. You got to keep working. You got to pile games and stack them on top of each other at a high level, and that's what makes great offenses, great players, and great quarterbacks.
What have you noticed? Every time we get a chance to talk to you, we ask this question. But what have you noticed he's definitely gotten good at just in the last 3 or 4 weeks? Obviously a huge test at Penn State. Last week things were kind of muddled, and he just started throwing touchdown passes. But what have you noticed he's really come along just in his approach to the game more than anything else?
It's about the Blues way. Obviously preparing on a week-to-week basis for different styles of offense. That's one thing about college, is that every week in and week out you see so many different styles of offense. And it's not necessarily
defense or offense?
Excuse me.
Defense.
Yeah, defense. Because, in the NFL, there's only the same type of defense, where in college there's so many different ones. Some are zone, some are man, some are pressure. So you have to, on a week-to-week basis, prepare at a high level so that you're ready to go. And they change things on third down in the red zone, so preparing is a big part. And also managing the game, understanding on third down when it's time to throw the ball away, when it's time not to. A couple interceptions last week that we got to clean up, and obviously as the games go on, those will become a little more important. So a lot to work on, but a lot to improve.
I know that when you're recruiting, you're dealing with a lot of different people, a lot of different families, and a lot of different people who are affiliated with those families. When you're recruiting, do you guys sometimes mesh really well with specific families? They became, maybe is there a line between friendship and being close and being a football coach? See what I'm saying?
Sure.
Can you kind of get a sense for when you want to be building relationships with people that are
in recruiting? Yeah, for sure. I think in recruiting you find certain people and certain families that you just connect with, and you have a lot in common with, and then your relationship goes beyond just recruiting. I think that's absolutely true. And you just connect with certain people. And the thing that's so great about recruiting a place like Ohio State is we get such great kids and great families, and that's what makes one of the jobs special.
What do you think the percentage is? Not to put you on the spot, but those dynamic relationships that you can tell are going to be better. Is that a common thing? Does that happen regularly with your guys, or is there like a handful of guys per class that you can really feel like, hey, this is going to be a different relationship besides just making the kids come?
I don't know if you can really quantify the whole thing or figure out what one that's going to be. I think certain times, there's a bunch of guys that you feel close with, and other times there isn't. So I think it's kind of random a little bit. But again, when you have certain standards, you have certain values, and you're at a place like Ohio State, there's going to be more of those connections.
Hey Ryan, you talked about how many different defenses that Dwayne has faced. In addition to that, teams now actually have film on him. How is he doing in responding to the fact that teams have undoubtedly made adjustments to what they see on tape?
Yeah, we talked about that, is that going into the season there really wasn't much out there on him. So now that these guys, there's a lot of great coaches out there and professionals out there that are going to go to work on him and try to find his tendencies and things he does well and things that are maybe things that needs to improve on. So we're constantly on top of that, recognizing that we have to be able to adjust in the game based on what the defense is showing us. Last week they wanted to pressure it a bunch, and so we knew maybe going into that game after the Penn State game that was going to be one of the things that we had to respond to. I thought he did a great job, and the offensive line and the running backs did a great job in protection because they did bring a bunch of pressure, and we did a good job identifying that, protecting.
How's he doing at balancing? Because we keep hearing that every new experience means building confidence. How is he doing at balancing gaining confidence without letting that crossover line into something that's less constructive than confidence?
Yeah, I think that's his makeup is that he's pretty steady. He's not too high, he's not too low, which I think is a good makeup. He comes from a great family that has instilled a lot of great values in him that way. And then also it's part of coaching is making sure that he's on top of his game and that, like you said, he's not getting himself too far ahead of this thing.
Ryan, I know you guys have quarterbacks committed next couple classes. When you talk to those guys, and you talk to maybe guys down the line a little bit who you're recruiting, what do they think of Dwayne and the way this offense is performing?
I think there's a lot of excitement around it, not only for the quarterbacks but also the receivers that are coming in. I think they see what's going on with the offense, and I think it's a lot of excitement.
And I know Ohio State's obviously had very successful offenses, successful quarterbacks, but it's never been successful quite in this way, throwing the ball the way you guys are throwing it. Does that allow you to, get into more doors? I know Ohio State gets into those doors it wants to get into, but can you attract even more talent when you show that you have this side of the offense too?
Well, I think that, again, when you're at Ohio State, you're first in line anyways. But this obviously I think is exciting to not only quarterbacks but all offensive players, seeing the explosiveness in the offense.
Coaching from the field, I know there's pros and cons. You talked about that. You at least can like look your players in the eyes. Maybe you can't see the game as well. Just how is that going for you as far as coaching
Being
from
on
the field?
Yeah, there's a certain feel down there of seeing the game, being able to communicate with the guys on the sideline, being able to communicate with the quarterback, and just seeing it from the ground level. And I think some people like to see it from up top. I'm kind of growing into the fact that I really like to see it down there and get a feel for the game and feel for the look in the players' eyes, and maybe late in a series seeing the defense. Are they tired? What's their look in their eye? How are they moving? Whether we need a sub. If we've gone 3 or 4 plays in a row and our guys are tired, we need to get subs in there. Those are the things you don't quite get a feel for.
Obviously, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you do get a better perspective out there of certain things, but no, it seems to be working well.
And it's got to help to give a guy like Kevin Wilson up there who's been a head coach.
Well, that's the whole key. You can't be down there if you don't have a guy as good as Kevin up there seeing everything. He can see it from the back end, the front end, giving great information about what's going on in each play, and then constantly communicating and back and forth about what's going to go on the next play, but what happened on the previous play as well.
What is the key to getting the running game going in gear? As Urban was concerned about that, the last 2 weeks and stuff. But what have y'all focused on, I guess, this week in that regard? Just like you said, teams are bringing like 7 in the box on a pretty consistent basis.
I think that when guys bring, the extra guy in the box, that does open up some things downfield, which we've been able to take advantage of, which is created some explosive plays for us. I think we're one of the top offenses in American explosive plays, which has been great. But we're constantly working on running the ball. It's a big part of our offense and the execution level. But that goes across the board, from the quarterback to the running backs, the O-line, the tight ends. Everybody owns it, just like in the pass game, but also in the run game, because we do like to do that.
I don't want to put these words in your mouth, but do you feel confident that y'all have answers? Because it looks like the last several weeks, y'all have had some big-time tests, but you found answers. Do you feel like you're confident y'all have answers in your playbook for almost anything from the standpoint of what they throw at you?
That's why we spend so much time in the meeting room and so much times in meetings with these guys, is so that one thing is the game plan, but then it's also contingency plans. If they do this, where do you go? And it's almost like a flow chart, and then finding the right answers in game, so that in the second half you can get yourself into the right plays to be successful.
Are there almost throwaway plays early just to see how they're going to line up? Do y'all ever do that?
There's sparring that goes on.
I mean, I know about scripts and things like that, but go ahead. Yeah,
there's sparring that goes on between an offensive coordinator, defense coordinator, and vice versa early in the game, because there's so many talented guys out there with great ideas, great schemes, and so I think early in the game you spar a little bit to figure out what he's doing. Is he bringing pressure? Is he playing coverage? What's going on at third down? And then throughout the game, you kind of chart that, organize that, so that when you go into halftime, you can kind of reorganize yourself and attack the second.
But like the pass to Johnny Dixon, I call it a seam corner. I mean, they loaded up the box and came in as a first down play and stuff. And you just champ it. Was that an automatic? Did y'all see that? Did y'all call that? You know what I mean?
That was a play that
you had stacked receivers on the right,
Yeah, well, we had talked about a play, when the next shot, that was going to be the one. And, we had run the ball and done some things out of that set early on in the game, and they were a little bit low, so it looked like it was going to be a good play, but you got to execute. The guy's got to block it, the quarterback's got to throw it, the receiver's got to run the right route, and a lot of things have to go right in order to make that play happen. And that's what we talk about competitive excellence, because we practice it so many times, but when it's called, it has to be the right defense, the right look, and then guys have to execute it. So hands off there. Hats off to everybody.
Last 2 questions.
3 points.
I know teams are stacked. Well, I do. When you watch the running game, you analyze the running game lately, last 2 weeks or so, what's your take?
Kind of what you said, we got to do a little bit better job executing. They're constantly guys that are in there, extra guys, which has opened up the pass, as we all know. But we constantly have to be able to reassess everything and make sure that we're doing the right things for executing at a high enough level. everybody involved in it and to make sure that those are right. But there are times where if there's an extra guy down that you can't block, that we need to throw the football. So constantly evaluating the scheme and the execution.
Is there something that you're seeing where it's more than just they outnumber you in the box?
Some plays, sure. Yeah, some plays, we got to do a better job executing for sure. But then other times there's the extra guy in there and can't account for him. So, working through all those things.